What's up, y'all? This Diaz is straight shooting with the boys. Thanks for tuning in to week 7. But if you guys can drop us a comment, let us know what we're doing good. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what we can do to make you have a better experience watching Straight Shoot with the boys. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe down below. Hit the bell so you get all the notifications when we release a video. And we'll see y'all next time.
Let's go, let's go!
Welcome to Straight Shooting with the boys. This is the Christian McCaffrey edition. Can't
Yes,
have any
sir.
better news than what we got last night. Thursday Night Football. Fuck Thursday Night Football. It was all about CMC. I didn't watch one down. I ain't gonna lie. I saw that CMC. I was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
All the
My,
news. What did we trade?
my-
What did we get? What you guys
my
think?
mind definitely shifted. Once I seen that news, I was definitely that was where my mind was. I will make a comment on that Thursday night game, which I thought was funny. The announcer made a comment like halfway through, and he's like, "Are we watching a Thursday night football game right now?" Because they were actually scoring points, so he was kind of surprised. I thought that was pretty funny, but
There was no touchdowns. Yo, the Saints were winning like by a touchdown or 10 points or something. And like 30
Yeah.
seconds later, they were losing by 2 touchdowns.
yeah, that was a bad showing by the Saints. I mean, also that pick six didn't help them, but it was similar to what happened to us with the Falcons. They got down too quick, and they're not the type of team to just generate points that quickly. So,
A pick six. That was back-to-back pick six.
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. That's two.
Let's talk about what we're here for.
Yeah, let's go.
Christian McCaffrey. This dude is a monster. He's gonna be running through holes that are bigger than he ever seen in his life. What you thinking? Oh, by the way, we got a friend here.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Mike, part of you guys' fantasy football league. Been a lifelong Niner fan. Constantly all about NFL everything, you know. Baseball too, hoops, everything. You know, just a base sports fan. Niners, Giants, Warriors. I was a SaberCat fan, but you know that's gone now.
Now, I don't know. I don't see any negatives with the CMC trade. Like everybody keeps saying he's injury prone. Fuck it, everybody's injury prone. It's football.
That's kind of where I was. My thought process is one, he's going to where he predominantly played on turf in that division, and he's coming to our division isn't really made up of turf; it's made up of grass. Our team for the rest of the season, at least, is playing on grass. So for me, I think it's a huge trade. For one, it gives us another weapon. Jimmy is like the check down king, I think. So that just gives him another guy to be able to check it down to that can actually do something with the ball in his hands. Obviously there are some other players that I would have preferred other than CMC at this point, like for our team. But now that he's there, he's on the team. Like I seen him in his 23 jersey. I was just like, all right, let's go. Like that. That's just one more weapon to have on that team, and I'm excited.
That's a nasty weapon, man. Think about that. You got him and Debo in the backfield. That's two people who have the exact same skill set.
Yeah, they're the same person.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And for me, because we have the other running, everyone's like, well, they already have good running backs. Yeah, that's true. We do have a few good running backs, but that's even more reason to have a guy like him on the team. That's like telling Cleveland to get rid of what's his name just because they have like go ahead and get rid of Kareem Hunt because you have Chubb. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like if you could have two weapons on the same team, why not have two weapons on the same goddamn team? So it allows you to spread the offense out a little bit more. It allows you to alternate guys and the production level not really fall off. Wilson's a bit great between the tackle. He's looking a lot explosive this year, but he still isn't that guy that's gonna like take a ball in his hands and make some people miss and do some crazy things. Yeah, in our offensive line, he's gonna run through a hole and he's gonna hit that hole and he's gonna go 40, 50 yards. But outside of that, his skill set isn't really like that flashy Debo get the ball in their hands and do something with it. Now you have a running back that also can do that. Like, it opens up drastically what you can do on your play calling, how you can run your personnel. Like, there's times where we've had running backs at wide receiver, like Tevin Coleman, those kind of guys. Like, now we don't even really need Coleman at this point. Like, you got CMC who can play wide receiver. Like, that dude played. Yeah, he might have lost his spot just by elimination. Like, you got TDP who brings his own version of himself. You got Wilson who brings his own version of himself, and you got CMAC. Like, Coleman was kind of that intermediate guy that we needed for that reason, and now CMAC's there. So I'm unfortunately the Cole World. That dude's gonna have to go either practice squad or go sit on the free agency again. But
I feel it. Mike, as a fan, give me your excitement, man. Give me your excitement.
I'm excited about Trent being back. That's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm excited about preserving Debo. He's been getting a lot of touches, a lot of touches out of the backfield. Hopefully, we can minimize that and use that further along in the season. You know, he's a durable guy. He's real tough, but you can see it after a lot of those plays. Just, you know, it's going to add up. And in a 17-week season, you know, the more help out of the backfield, the better. And what an addition. I mean, there's probably only 4 teams out there out of the 32 that wouldn't love to have, you know, Chris McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Back in the Bay, you know, his dad was a dog. He's a dog. He just joins another pack of just, you know, goblins. So it's really exciting to hear the news. Can't wait to see it on the field. Shanahan's just salivating over this new addition. You know what I mean? And what better can you say about John Lynch?
Yeah. People hate on that dude. I think he's probably the second best GM in the league. The players love him. He doesn't make bad deals. I think he's made one bad deal. The Ford deal.
Yeah. That was probably it. That was fine. And even then,
we had to make that deal then. We had to. We didn't have a choice.
No, even then, I feel like when Ford was on the field, it definitely showed exactly why we went and we grabbed that dude. Like, sure, he had the injury proneness. Like, you know, we obviously didn't get the value that we wanted out of him. But realistically, like, when he was on that field, our defense was crazy good. Like, now that we have Drake Jackson, it looks similar to that with Bosa and him on the field at the same time. But, like, before that, we didn't have that other side of that defense. Like, Bosa was solo on that line. So just having that extra guy on the other side allowed Bosa to kind of unlock his potential. It allowed the rest of our defensive line to do what they wanted to do. Say what you want about D Ford, but that dude, when he played on the field, he was the best. He was the best D lineman on the field when he was on the field. So
that's true.
I can't even argue that one. I would say draft picks are probably the only thing that I would say Lynch didn't always hit on, but even then, he's found some gems in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he hasn't drafted historically the best in the earlier rounds, but that's why I'm like, trade away the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round picks for CMAC. Like, we're not going to we haven't gotten really anybody in those rounds that we can say is a contributor the way CMAC will contribute. Like, they can say whatever they want that we gave up hella picks and we basically don't have any picks next year. I would take a young CMAC over anybody coming out in that draft in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round. Like, it's not like we gave up a 1st round pick that we could have got this young stud. We're going to get contributors, but not guys that are going to elevate the team the way CMAC does immediately.
And the way I look at this, if we give CMAC 10 to 12 carries a game, we got Jeff Wilson who could take 3 to 5. We got Elijah Wilson coming back who could take 7 to 8. You don't have to use him as a bell cow where he's going to get hurt.
No, that's the thing.
4 or 5 passes, he's going to get his touches. And off the field. That's what I like.
Hey, I'm getting Paige back into the shop. I'll join you guys on another one. This is fun. I like it. All
right, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate it, man. Good looking out.
Go Niners. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Later, guys.
Later.
Oh, yeah, I'm small. Why am I so small? I'm big now. But yeah.
That's just a history of him. He's my dad's, like, my dad's brother, basically, like his half brother. My dad's dad has a daughter and a son too, outside of my grandparents and my dad. So Those are like his half siblings. Like I grew up with them. My cousin Mike. It's funny because that dude's always like historically he's always been at the Niner games when I'm there, but we
Oh
don't know.
shit!
We don't
By
touch base
accident?
until we don't know. We don't touch base until we see our Instagram posts after the games, and we're like, bro, you were there? Like what the like? Why didn't you hit me up? So he went on the first home game of the season this year, and he hit me up like immediately. He called me and was like, "Hey, are you at this game?" And I'm like, "Nah, I wanted to be at that game, but I was like, I have other games towards the end of the year that I'm gonna focus on going to." I was like, "I'm not there." He was like, "All right, I had to call you because last year we were literally at every game at the same time." He was like, "So wanted to make sure before I went in, to make sure you weren't here." So it's pretty
I
funny.
was gonna tell you, I might have something working on some free tickets. So if I get them, I'll let you know.
On some what?
Some free tickets.
Oh, for sure.
49ers Arizona in San Francisco
Shit.
or Santa Clara. But yeah, this CMC deal, man, I'm excited about it. Jeff Wilson running through the lanes he's running through, he gets 8 to 10 yards.
Yeah.
CMC gets 20
Before
to
he's
30 yards
before he's touched.
before he's touched.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thing. Like Wilson is getting that amount of yards before contact. Like his yards per carry before contact. You're like, I think it's like he's averaging like 5 yards a carry or some shit like that. So I'm like, you give C-Mac 5 yards a carry before contact, and then you allow him to do what he does typically in the open field.
Yes.
You're going to get the same thing you get out of Debo, the same thing you expect out of Debo. Yeah, the same thing you expect when Debo carries the ball, you get that from C-Mac.
So when Debo goes to the backfield, defense is focused on that because he's not out there in the receiver slot.
Yep.
Now Debo's in the receiver slot. You have that same player in the backfield that can make the things happen that Debo does.
Yeah, you have to now as a defense. Yeah, as a defense, you're like, wait, which guy who am I looking at right now? Like, and I think who I think is gonna super. And I kind of talked about this when I was telling the dude that hit me up about that fantasy trade. He is gonna benefit from this. I think the most is Kittle. I think because we have so many outside weapons and we have McCaffrey in the backfield, just that little bit of a stutter to think C-Mac might get the ball, like that's going to let Kittle get behind those linebackers, get behind those safeties, and that's going to be like I could already see it in my head. Like knowing Shanahan, the way he draws out plays, like I could see Kittle just running like a quick hot route off the linebacker, stepping up, play action. Jimmy turning around and dumping it to Kittle, and they're literally being just a safety there because they have to focus their attention out to Debo, out to Ayuk. You know what I mean? It pulls defenses out, and that middle of that field is going to be.
I think Ayuk is going to benefit too. Like think about it. You got Ayuk on one side, Debo on the other. We were running screens, but you already knew you had to go one each side. Now you run a screen. Are we going receiver or are we going running back screen? Now the defense has to think about it. Like, oh shit!
Tight end screens. We do screens to everybody. Pullback screens. Like we have.
So now Jimmy has options now.
Yeah.
Running game's gonna be better. Play action's gonna be better because the running game's better, and it all gets better because the returns we have coming back. Got Trent Williams coming back this week.
Yeah.
That makes the whole line better. Brunskill's playing. If he plays the right side, that's fine. He's a good right tackle. Trent Williams on the left, and the interior has been fine all year. Not been great, but it's not been bad. It's been good.
And I think when Trent's on the field, the interior is really good because
they don't have to help.
They have that guy to be able to step down and be able to do that, and because he's so long, he's able to step down and chip on these tackles and still focus on that defensive end. It's I've watched him do it. It's like this dude's wingspan is insane. So he's literally like chip blocking a guy benching 500 pounds, chip blocks a fucking D tackle and then turns around and blocks the defensive end, out of the fucking line of scrimmage. So adding Trent increases the interior. It forces people to kind of shift around on our defensive line, which led to Jimmy, which he's actually done really well, step up in the pocket and be able to find guys because you're creating a pocket opposed to, you know what I mean, he's not a side-to-side guy. He's not really good at sidestepping and getting out of sacks, but when he has to step up in the pocket when there's pressure, he's really good at doing that and then dumping it off to like in C-Mac.
I thought last week he played good. He stayed out. He was under pressure a couple times, but he was hitting people.
Yeah.
He was dropping the ball. Ayuk.
I can't even put it on Jimmy, to be honest. Like there was 2 picks. One of the picks I'm not even going to count because that was just a deep shot at the end of half. Like they're just trying to take a shot. That's a Madden like throw a Hail Mary right before halftime type of play.
Something good happened.
If it gets fucking play, if it gets a pick, oh well. If it doesn't, and that ball knocks into the receiver's hands, he has an option to make a play now. So that I don't count. The other pick also not really was his fault either. Kind of wasn't. I mean, it
A
hit the
little too
receiver.
high. If he
It
had
was.
thrown
It
a
was a
little
little high.
lower,
But
Debo would have had a better chance.
oh
to
yeah,
at least make it.
for sure. So I mean, he didn't have the best game, but he had a game also where he was throwing dimes. Like I seen so many of those balls hit those receivers right in the hands. So much so, I think the reason why they dropped him was because I don't think they expected them to hit
To hit him in the head.
them in the hands. Like you can see, they're putting their hands out, getting ready to run. They're like, well, hold on, like this, it's not supposed to be this fluid for us. We're used to doing this, and you know, like they're so used to being so more like stretching their bodies that when the ball caught them in fluid motion, they were like, hold on, what's going on? So I think it allows though. Jimmy's not going to lose faith in his wide receivers because they're the only ones that are going to make him look good. Like those wide receivers are who they are. I think it gives the wide receivers a little bit more faith in Jimmy when they're running their routes to not shorten them out and not have to like adjust.
I think the plays from last week will give Kyle more faith in Jimmy.
Yeah, that too.
Plays. With CMC on the field, it's going to help also because these plays are going to be even more open.
Yeah, it's
not, then you just dump it down to CMC and let him make it happen.
And then when we got Mitchell back, like at that point, like you got three different running backs that can all do different things, and even TDP at that point.
Like CMC's a true third down back. The first one we've ever had.
Yeah.
We had Mostert was good on third down, but he wasn't a true third down back.
No.
CMC's a true third down back, and then you have three good rushing backs. Jeff Wilson Jr. is making it happen. You got Elijah Mitchell who can make it happen, and CMC, of course, is going to make it happen.
Yeah. It was one of those things where like you seen Debo he was the guy that was getting in out there down at running back. So I'm like, now that allows him to go out a wide receiver and give us that extra option out there, and we have a third down running back. Like people that are talking about all the injury stuff, like let's worry about that when that happens. Like for me, he's played this year. He fucking played against a physical defense of us, and he came out that game.
The Rams already too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he played against defenses that go out there and they hit him, and he's fine. And like I said, for me, I 100%. When you go 3 seasons and you don't get hurt, and then you finally start to have injury issues, I feel like that's more of they ran me into the ground than that is I'm an injury-prone running back. Like you can't say that. If he came in the league like Todd Gurley and got hurt every year, the first year he got there, from that point on, I wouldn't risk putting our chips in. Yeah, like I wouldn't go and say, let's go grab that guy. Like even if he was who he was now, I'm going based off the fact that for the 3 seasons prior to them running him into the ground, he was a stud. When they had Cam Newton, when they had these weapons that they were able to kind of spread the ball out a little bit more, like he was fine. He was healthy. He played a full 3 seasons. So, and he was the top running back in those for scrimmage yards in those 3 seasons. So it's with the ceiling of him, you can't knock, and we can't focus on the negative when that positive just far outweighs what he could bring to the table on our offense, what he could potentially unlock. Whether he does or he doesn't, I don't care if he gets 0 yards all year, but if he opens up our offense to be able to allow these other guys to do stuff that they're supposed to do, he was exactly what we needed to add. Like it doesn't hurt us
at all. And Kyle just came out and said, "This isn't a rental player. We're keeping him."
No, yeah. I can definitely see. I mean, C-Mac knows the injury proneness. He knows that's already being talked about. So that's why I was saying, hopefully we can get him here. And then next year, if we make that run this year, it kind of convinces C-Mac a little bit more to say, all right, you know what? I should stay here. You know what I mean? Like, let me find a way to stay here, make it possible for them to keep me. I get to stay local again. Like I'm back in my fucking my domain. Like his fan base, his jersey sales are gonna go crazy. Like it's gonna benefit him being on our team as much as it's gonna benefit us him being on our team. So unless he gets hurt another time for a full season, there's no reason why we shouldn't go out there and try to extend him for a good amount of time, even if it's like a 3-year. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
I don't care. get him to stay. I like it. He's only 25.
Yeah, he's young. That's what I'm like. He's only been in the league since 2017. It's not like he's
Still
been
looks
in the league for.
explosive. So.
Yeah, he's plenty of years in front of him. Like at the very least, he has five hard years in front of him. You know, we keep it spread out in this committee. He gets a good 7 to 8. So
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Based off the trade that we made last night, I don't know if we have any assets to make any more trades, but do you think there's anything that the 49ers need?
Like I said earlier, I would have been more inclined if I had the opportunity. Now maybe they did go out there and they looked and they just didn't have the opportunity to get a guy that they felt would have contributed enough. Like we have defensive players, like everyone's like, oh, you know, our defensive line is insane. When they're healthy, they're insane, and even when they're not, they're still good. The problem is
Top
though,
5, top 10.
yeah. The problem is though is if we have guys that are out for extended periods of time, our guys that we have that are backups aren't guys that are meant to play a full game. Like you started to see it in that game as the game went on. They literally just said, we're going to smack you in the mouth, and you guys don't have enough people on this team to rotate the way you guys have been doing all season. We didn't. We had to have Ibukam in there for so long. He went out so many times with injuries throughout that game, and it's just because those guys their bodies aren't conditioned to play a full 60 minutes. That's just not what they were not brought in to do that. You know what I mean? They were brought in to be those situational, like interchangeable kind of pieces that come in and out when they need to. They're not built to be those types of players. So I would have preferred a guy that could do that. Like I mentioned his name. I thought he would have been great on our team. Payne from the Redskins. He's a stud. That dude is gotten progressively better every year, and he already has, I think, like 5 sacks this year, and he's a defensive tackle. Like defense tackle, 5 sacks, and you're on Washington, who's like a dumpster fire. Like you have a potential to be. You add him to what we have on that defensive line and that defensive lineman coach. Like we could have unlocked so much potential with that kid. But that being said,
For sure.
I don't think, like you said, we don't really have enough. We don't have anything else to give.
Yeah.
At this point, unless we trade players that are out on our team that aren't really like a Verrett or somebody like that.
The only player that we could possibly trade that we probably wouldn't hurt us is Aziz and get us something back.
I don't. At this point, they had Burks is another guy that's like he's not meant to play a full game. He played most of that game last week. It wasn't even Flanagan, which was weird to me, but Burks was in there in that game, and he didn't look that great either. So I wouldn't. At this point, I would like to keep our linebackers intact as long as we can. Only because last week that worried me. Like I said, we have a lot of players, and that's why I was like, oh yeah, if we have some injuries here and there, we'll be fine. The problem is like we don't have. I now I see it. I didn't see it before. Now I do. So I'll admit that was my, I guess, mistake, not really thinking that far into it. But the defensive guys we have to back up those players are good when they have to get in and play 2 or 3 plays, but not when they have to play a full game. If they have to play 2 or 3 or 4 games, like I just don't see them being able to hold up.
Definitely saw it on the last week. Even the defensive line played good until they got exhausted.
That's what I mean.
But the cornerbacks were rough too after Ward went out. It seemed like they really took advantage of the youthfulness in that secondary. Safeties, I think, are fine. Linebackers, I think, will be fine because linebackers are going to be way better with the defense healthy. Or defense healthy, which they are now, or getting there. Bosa's back, so that's like all I'm thinking about. I think right corner or opposite corner of Ward would be a good pickup.
Yeah.
You can get somebody because it seemed like last week we put Womack on the outside until Ward got hurt, and then him and Lamore on the outside.
Lamore, yeah.
And they both really struggled. It seemed that they struggled at least, especially when they were guarding the bigger receivers.
Yeah,
As a young cornerback, I remember Ward struggling with the big receivers as well, which he'll come back this week too, which will also help because he can guard a Travis Kelce or a receiver if he needs to. I think Bosa's coming back this week, Ward's coming back this week, and Williams is coming back this week.
Trent will be back.
Looks like we're
But
getting healthy-ish.
we're healthier than
Travis
we were
Ward's came
last
back
week.
too.
Yeah, we're healthier. So my thing is like people don't after. So Hufunga and Ward were out a lot of that game last week too. So like we literally had 10 out of our 12 starters on that defense. They were out. You know what I mean? Like at the very least they were out. Yeah, we were not able to do the things that we did prior to, and I kept saying like, why aren't we bringing blitzes? Why aren't we doing that? But because we don't have the linebackers and the corners that we had prior to, if we would have did that, that would have opened up for a lot of bigger plays. And Mariota, as much as he isn't a great quarterback, he's still a veteran quarterback that can still make you pay when there's things open. You know what I mean? So I think it was a panic game called by D'Amico. I think D'Amico just ran a base. Hopefully we can do enough to wear them down type of thing, and it didn't translate. I mean, to give everything to Atlanta, I'm not trying to say that they shouldn't have beat us because that
supposed to do.
Yeah, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. That line and that running back group wore us down. At the end of the day, like, and then I'm not even mad at too much at the corners. The corners allowed some decent plays, but like they ran the ball like I don't know. I don't even remember the statistic right now, but they ran the ball so many times,
40,
and they got
40 carries.
Yeah, positive yards on every single carry. I don't think you can't beat a team that can take out 30 minutes of the 60 minutes off the clock. Like they had the ball for 3/4 of that goddamn game. So yeah, we had a couple of plays, the fumble for the touchdown, all that kind of stuff that kind of let us get behind quickly, which put us in that position to not really play that kind of football. They had the perfect team to beat you in a game where if they go up, they beat you. You know what I mean? Like, even though we came back and we tied it, we're at that point now. We're still treading water. We're still trying to like catch up to their speed and what they were doing in that game. You can't do that with the team that we had. So
Kyle said there was one play that changed the game. He said the QB scramble on 3rd and 12 when he got a first down right before the half. I feel like there was 3 plays. There was that play, the fumble that returned for a touchdown, and the drop pass by was it Warner? That should have been a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
Those 3
Yeah,
plays.
Charlie. Yeah, the tight end.
Changed the game because
there was 2 or 3 passes that were dropped that would have went for 40 plus, if not a touchdown. Like it. We can do the what ifs all day. We lost. I'm not one of those guys going to sit here and like try to come up with every reason why we lost. I think we do have a people are panicking. Some people are panicking. Real football fans and Niner fans are not panicking whatsoever because we have the team. It just needs to get healthy. It needs to get to that point. Like I said, we're not playing on turf. That's been our issue up until now. I think it needs to be addressed at some point by the NFL because it's an issue for everybody, not just for us. And even the coaches that coach on turf fields have came out on record stating turf is just it just doesn't give the way that you want it to give, and you can't condition your body to play a certain way. It's like if you
getting tackled on cement.
Yeah, and it's like you take a runner who runs on grass all the time, and then you have him run on sand. He's not going to be fast. Like it's just common sense. Like different type variations of flooring affects the way you run, and if you have to like you're used to sticking, you're used to stepping, and our guys are those types of players for sure. Like they put their foot in the ground and they turn and they move. That's where tears happen. So it hurts us because, and everyone's like, oh, it's the night. And I'm sure part of it is, the way that we're practicing and the way that we're conditioning our bodies to do that. But I could see where Shanahan has that issue with practicing too hard because we've lost guys in practice for the year too. So it's one of those two-edged swords. Like, do we practice hard, condition these guys, and hope that they hold up, or do we take a chance playing on these fields? We play on the fields way less than we practice. So, in my opinion, Shanahan's.
I think with the field thing, I think it's just your body getting used to it.
Yeah.
I think maybe we think about putting a turf practice field.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad to just have them even if they're not playing on that. Like just have them go run on that. Like, you know what I mean? Like have them run, have them do drills. have them do drills on the side, like even if it's like a strip of fucking turf on the side of the field, that they'd have them run and do routes and carries on and shit, so they can at least get used to that. The way the ground gets, because like I said, it's just different. You don't. It doesn't. You feel like you're running on hard floor. Like we played on turf. I don't know if you ever played on it, but I played on turf a few times, and it's just different. Like you feel when you get out there, like, oh man, I could run way faster, just like you feel when you're on the cement. But then you go to take a step and like turn, or when I was running routes at tight end, you just put your foot in, you try to turn, you're gonna slide. Like it's not the same. It just doesn't feel the same as you when you're on grass. So like as fun as it is when you're running straight, anytime you try to make a cut or try to turn, it's just not. You're not. And we got our asses kicked against guys that practice on turf all the time, and that's because
they knew how to work it.
They're used to playing on that turf. You know what I mean? So that high school Lincoln game is like was the perfect example for me. I'm like, fuck turf. I don't ever want to see turf again. And then, sure enough, Niners have issues on turf. So I wasn't wrong in high school, apparently.
So it seems like half the NFL is 3-3 right now. It's like, I don't know if it's bad football because they're not doing the preseason as much anymore. But it seems like everybody's even. Even the bad teams are 3-3. Good teams are 3-3. Bad teams are 3-3. Do you think that what part of the season now do you think is a part where we can look at it and be like, that's a good team and that's a bad team?
I think we'll start seeing it. I would say like by week 9, week 10. Only because it's a 17 game season this year now, so and it was last year. So it's different. It's a little bit different in I think the way you prepare. And yeah, there's a lot of 3-3 teams, but the NFL this year did a decent job actually doing that. They set up a lot of games that on paper they may not look the best, but on personnel, like it's going to be good games. Like there's not very many games. If you look at them, a lot of the games, even when they're bad teams, like you said, versus good teams, they're good games. Like you don't really see a lot of blowouts in the NFL anymore. It's because they're doing their best on the NFL side to put teams against each other that can actually compete. You're not watching 2 quarters and then you're tuning out. You're not watching it after that because it's a blowout. So I mean, you're gonna have occasional blowouts from teams that just don't, whatever it may be. But I think the NFL is doing a better job trying to keep it more interesting. They want to keep people watching the games. They want to know. Right now everybody's at the same point. Like you said, everyone's at 3-3. Every team in the leagues right now thinking, yeah, we can do it. We can do it. We can do it. So every fan is still tuning in. Every fan's still showing up to the stadium. Like there's nobody out there that's like, damn, our team just sucks. Like it's just there's very few unless you're the Raiders. No, I'm kidding. I had to throw that one out there,
they
but
lost all their games by like a total of 9 points or something like that.
yeah, I know. I was talking shit. I know we got our Raider friends out here, so I wanted them to hear that. But but
fans too, and they're talking shit.
Oh yeah, they're running their mouth, but the whole point is they have to. Their division actually isn't bad this year, so they can keep running their mouths. But if they lose to the Giants, they go from second place to they drop down to fucking third or fourth. So they need to calm their asses a little bit down there a little bit. But yeah, so I think at 3-3. I think you still see on paper, you can still see on the field like which teams are going to be the teams that are going to down the stretch start to pull away. I said at the beginning of the season, the cream of crop always rises to the top. It'll happen eventually, but I think I could say probably week 10. At that point, you have a good amount of games behind you, and you have only a few games in front of you at that point, and everyone's at buys by then for the most part. Everybody's kind of cycled through where we need to be, and I think at that point is where you'll start to see, all right, you got these teams going for the NFC and you got these teams going for the AFC. You have a couple of flyers here that might make a push. The Jets are like the 2019 Niners right now, looking like they're going to potentially do something out of nowhere. And, you got all these little teams here and there, but for the most part, you'll start to see the separation.
Yeah, I think the 3-3 thing, first couple weeks for preseason basically was bad football. Now everybody's starting to get injured because – again, it's preseason. And then when everybody comes back, I think it'll separate. Just like last year. Last year, I think we were like 3-5.
We started off 2-5.
2-5, there you go.
People are like,
I don't look at it. I think the good teams don't rush into it. The good teams are kind of slow starters. Let's develop the players that we need to develop, and then take off when we need to take off. You ever watch Fast and the Furious? Like when they use the NOS, they're like, if you use it too
yeah,
fast,
yeah,
I think it's the same kind of concept. Like you come out of the gates with the NOS, you're gonna slow down.
yeah.
So I think the drivers, we've
And
always been a team that.
schedules are set up differently too. Like if you look at it, a lot of the teams that are 4-1 right now, or even the undefeated teams, the Eagles are playing good football. So I'm not going to take anything from them. But like some of the other teams, if you look at their strength of schedule up until this point, like they haven't played any good teams. Like on paper, they were supposed to be good teams, but you had them like they're beating the Cardinals, they're beating these teams that are 2-5, 1-4. Like the wins that are coming in the teams that are at the top right now. Not to take anything from them, they're doing all right, but you start to look at strength of schedule and who's played who at this point, and it's like you start to see why teams are 3-3 and why teams are 5-1, and then why teams are 1-4. So,
And the Eagles are a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they don't scare me.
no,
Not the Niners. For the Niners, because you put Moody on AJ Brown, and then they don't really have a running game.
no,
Well, a running game is their quarterback. So with a
yeah.
healthy defense, I think we'll destroy them.
I
The
think
Cowboys
with
are
that,
different. The Cowboys are a different story, though.
yeah,
They
yeah,
tee off on quarterbacks that just stand back there. We have a quarterback that stands back there.
yeah,
That game might be a little different this year. But we also have a great running team. Sorry. And CMC just entered the equation, so
yeah.
that game looks a little different now. Yeah. I don't know. I think over the next few weeks we'll figure out. We could lose this week and be 3-4. We could lose the
Yeah,
Wednesday 3-5.
yeah. We're not playing a
Like we
bad
were
team.
last year.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, like I said, I'm confident in our roster and our personnel we have out there. Unless our whole team gets hurt, like it did a few years ago, like barring that from happening, like year out, whole year injuries. Other than like we've had an E-man already, but unless we have injuries that are like that, where it's everybody's out, where our team isn't there, our team is too good, even with a shitty coach, to not at least go, 8-8 coming into that, or even 10-6 coming into that last game, and that last game being a deciding factor on whether we make the playoff as a team, or as a wild card or not. I'm not saying we're a wild card team. I think we're better than that. but if for whatever reason, we don't get to that point where we have to pull out some
I
wins
think
towards
it's
the
kind
end
of
of
the
the year,
NFC West that's going to do this.
no, I'm not. At this point, I'm not even worried about our division. I think we're the best team in our division by far.
Yeah.
Seahawks are actually not bad. So
They're good.
that was one of
They are good.
they're not
Their
a bad
defense
team,
isn't
but
so good, but their offense is solid.
no, but I think our team, when healthy, is set up to win those types of games, which is they're Gino's not exactly a
We've destroyed the two teams in the NFC West we played so far.
yeah.
The Arizona Cardinals we haven't played yet, but I don't see it going any different. They got D Hop back. We get to play them twice. But Durant's coming back this week too.
Yeah, dude, we're getting healthy. Like Armstead, really, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know why we didn't think D tackle, because Armstead's really the guy that, like, I think his yeah, he might not get a lot of time this year. I'm just seeing that kind of happen with him. Even though historically he didn't have a lot of injury issues, this is the first time he's missed games. So
it's a nagging injury too. It's not something
yeah,
that's gonna go away until he sits down for 2 months. And
that's what I mean. He's his type of player that he is, the type of body type he has. Like that injury is gonna continue to bug him throughout the season. So I think we should have been thinking D tackle. Maybe that McGill guy, like, because we haven't really got him a lot of playing time yet.
mm-hmm.
Maybe he's the guy we feel confident in him, and that's where we're going to end up going. I haven't seen enough of him on the Niners yet. I've seen him in preseason, though. He looked like a good. I talked about it last week. He looks like a stud. So I think he could be that guy. It's just a matter of if he plugs in there and we feel comfortable with him, or if he's just a guy that we brought in as a situational player. But we'll see.
Yeah. We'll find out soon. Picks of the week. You get to see C-Mac on Sunday. And then 49
I'm excited, man. I'm gonna grab that
I got
jersey
it on the
ASAP.
way. I got it on the way. Hopefully he stays 23 though. He might switch back
I
to
know
22 next year.
that's true. That's a good point. With Wilson being there, I don't know, but yeah, it's a good point.
I don't think Wilson's on the team next year.
No, not with the amount of young running backs we have. I think he was needed this year with Mitchell going out and everything else. But I think next year I think it's going to be C-Mac, obviously, hopefully, but I think TDP will be a big factor next year too. I think get him a year in that offense, and I think he's that guy.
Yeah, I like the trade. I feel like we've been trying to find a running back. We've drafted like 3 or 4 in the last 2 years.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
fuck it. Just go get somebody who's proven. And we got him.
So we did.
When healthy, probably the best in the league. So let's see what he does. He's gonna be walking through holes.
Yeah,
So big.
and just the
He's gonna think he's
misdirection.
not playing football no more. He's gonna think he's
And
running on his
the
own.
yeah, and the misdirection that Shanahan creates, it aids to that type of player. That's why Mitchell played as well as he did, is because he was quick enough to kind of follow like the misdirection and hit the misdirection kind of quicker than normal. I think C-Mac has that ability, and he has that after the line of scrimmage at obviously the yards after the catch and just the runs after the contact and stuff. I think he has all of that too. So I think he has all the skill sets that like Mitchell brought to the field, on top of the fact that he's just that much better. You know what I mean? So
I feel it. Well, that's this week's episode, y'all.
yes, sir.
Week 7's in the book. Well, sorry. Week 7 episode is in the books. This is our 7th week. We're about 10 videos in. I still feel like I'm learning every day. Still feel like we're fucking struggling on some days.
Yeah, it is what it is. Bear with us, you guys. We're gonna get there. I'm sure we'll start setting up different formats and stuff. We're definitely, this is new. We're trying this out. We'll probably do a little bit more. But we'll start branching out and doing different things. We're trying to do a little bit of different things to kind of get you guys going with the drinks and just the little clips and little videos and stuff. We'll definitely be doing some more of that. Hit us up. Let us know if there's anything we can do better or anything you guys want to see more of or less of. Hear less of us talking and more of us just being idiots. I mean, I'm good with that too. So
We can do that.
well, whatever we gotta do, man. We're here for you guys. So
with that said, thanks for tuning in. Straight Shooting with the Boys. We the boys. We'll see you guys next week.
Not to be confused with the Cowboys.
Subscribe. And we ain't those boys.
No, not those boys. Later,
We're
y'all.
out of here.
Let's go, let's go!